Healing is often described as a beautiful journey. A journey of growth, of self-discovery, of becoming the person you were always meant to be. And while there is truth in that, there is another side to healing that people rarely talk about. The loneliness, the silence, the feeling that somehow, despite doing everything you can to become healthier, stronger, and more whole, you feel more disconnected than ever before. It's a strange contradiction. You begin healing because you want to feel better, yet somewhere along the way, you may find yourself feeling more alone. You may look around and wonder why the people in your life don't seem to understand what you're going through. You may find yourself withdrawing from conversations that once felt meaningful. You may even question whether something is wrong with you. But what if this loneliness isn't a sign that you're failing? What if it's actually a natural part of the healing process? Because healing doesn't just change how you feel, it changes who you are. And whenever we begin changing, there is often a period where the old version of ourselves begins to fade before the new version has fully emerged. It is in that space that loneliness often appears. Not because you are broken, not because you are lost, but because you are becoming. One of the most overlooked parts of healing is that it quietly changes your identity. Not all at once, not overnight, but little by little, the way you think, the way you respond, and the things you value begin to shift. You may start noticing that certain conversations no longer interest you. The same habits that once brought comfort now feel empty. The same routines that once felt normal suddenly feel out of place. At first, these changes can be confusing. After all, nothing around you may have changed. Your home is the same. Your job may be the same. The people around you may still be the same. Yet something inside you has begun to move. Perhaps you've become more aware of how much energy you give away to others. Perhaps you've started questioning beliefs you've carried for years. Perhaps you've realized that some of the ways you've been living no longer reflect the person you want to become. And while growth is often celebrated, what many people don't realize is that growth can also create distance. Distance between who you were and who you are becoming. Imagine cleaning out a closet that hasn't been touched in years. At first, it feels productive. You remove what no longer belongs. You create space. But as the closet empties, there is a moment when it looks bare, unfinished, almost uncomfortable. Healing can feel the same way. You begin removing old patterns, unhealthy attachments, and limiting beliefs. But before new habits and new perspectives have a chance to take root, there is an empty space, a quiet space. And that space can feel lonely. Many people experience this and assume they are moving backward. In reality, they may be moving forward. Because healing is not simply about feeling better, it is about becoming different. And whenever we leave behind an old version of ourselves, there is often a period of uncertainty before we fully recognize who we are becoming. That uncertainty can be uncomfortable, but it is also where transformation begins. One of the hardest truths about healing is that not everyone will grow alongside you. We often imagine healing as something that improves our relationships, and sometimes it does. But sometimes, healing reveals relationships that were built around versions of ourselves that no longer exist. As you begin changing, the dynamics around you begin changing as well. You may start setting boundaries where there were none before. You may become less willing to tolerate behaviors that once felt normal. You may stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. And while these changes are healthy, they can create tension in places where there was once familiarity. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself. Maybe you stopped saying yes to every request that came your way. Maybe you started protecting your time and energy. Maybe you began speaking more honestly about your needs. At first, these seem like small changes. But to people who are accustomed to the old version of you, those changes can feel significant. Sometimes people become uncomfortable when we begin changing. Not because they want to hurt us, but because change forces them to adjust as well. The version of you they knew may have been predictable, familiar, comfortable. When healing begins transforming us, that familiarity can disappear, and not everyone knows how to respond. Some people may pull away. Some may misunderstand your intentions. Others may interpret your growth as rejection. This can be incredibly painful because healing often requires vulnerability. You are already doing the difficult work of examining yourself, confronting old wounds, and trying to move forward. The last thing you expect is to feel disconnected from people you care about. Yet this experience is more common than many realize. There may come a moment when you look around and notice that certain conversations no longer resonate with you. Topics that once consumed your attention now feel unimportant. Environments that once felt comfortable now leave you feeling drained. You aren't trying to be different, you simply are different. And that realization can feel isolating, especially when the people around you continue relating to the version of you that existed before your healing began. The truth is that growth often requires us to let go, not only of habits and beliefs, but sometimes of relationships that can no longer support who we are becoming. This doesn't always mean cutting people out of our lives. Sometimes it simply means accepting that certain connections may no longer carry the same depth they once did. And that can be difficult to grieve. Because healing is not just about gaining new things. It is also about releasing old things, old patterns, old identities, old expectations, and occasionally, old relationships. What makes this especially challenging is that healing rarely provides immediate replacements. You may lose a connection before finding a new one. You may leave an environment before discovering where you truly belong. You may spend time walking alone before finding people who understand the path you're on. That period in between can feel incredibly lonely. But loneliness during growth does not necessarily mean you are moving in the wrong direction. Sometimes it simply means you are creating space for relationships that align more closely with the person you are becoming. And while that process can be painful, it is often a necessary part of transformation. One of the reasons healing feels so lonely is because most of it happens where no one else can see it. People often notice the results of healing. They notice the confidence, the peace, the healthier relationships, the new habits. But they rarely see the work that came before those things. They don't see the quiet moments spent questioning everything. They don't see the difficult conversations you have with yourself when no one else is around. They don't see the nights when your mind refuses to rest. They don't see the effort it takes to break patterns that have followed you for years. Healing is often an internal battle, and because it happens internally, it can feel like you're carrying the weight of it alone. There may be days when you feel exhausted, yet struggle to explain why. From the outside, everything appears normal. You go to work, you attend classes, you respond to messages, you complete your responsibilities. Life continues moving forward. Yet, beneath the surface, an entirely different journey is taking place. You are processing old experiences, reevaluating old beliefs, learning new ways to think, learning new ways to respond, learning new ways to live. That kind of growth requires energy, a tremendous amount of energy. And because others cannot see the process, they may not understand the weight you're carrying. This can create a unique kind of loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, but the loneliness of feeling unseen. The loneliness of knowing that something significant is happening inside you, while the world continues as if nothing has changed. Perhaps you've experienced moments where you wanted someone to understand what you were going through. Not to fix it, not to solve it, just to understand it. To recognize the effort, to acknowledge the progress, to see the battle that nobody else can see. Yet, healing often asks us to continue moving forward, even when that recognition never comes. And that can be incredibly difficult. Because as human beings, we naturally want to feel understood. We want to know that our experiences matter. We want to know that someone else sees the journey. But one of the lessons healing teaches us is that not every step will be witnessed. Some of your greatest growth will happen quietly. Some of your most important breakthroughs will happen in private. Some of the most meaningful victories of your life may never be fully understood by anyone else. And that doesn't make them any less valuable. In fact, there is something powerful about growth that happens without applause. Growth that continues even when nobody is watching. Growth that isn't driven by recognition, but by a genuine desire to become better. The truth is, healing often feels lonely because so much of the work takes place beneath the surface. Like roots growing underground before a tree ever begins to rise. The transformation is happening, even when nobody else can see it. Even when you sometimes struggle to see it yourself. And perhaps that is what makes healing so challenging. You are asked to trust a process that often reveals its results slowly. You are asked to keep moving forward before there is visible proof that anything is changing. You are asked to believe in your growth before the world can see it. That requires patience. That requires courage. And sometimes, it requires walking through seasons of loneliness while trusting that something meaningful is taking shape beneath the surface. Perhaps the loneliest part of healing is not what you leave behind. It's where you find yourself afterward. There comes a point in many healing journeys where you no longer feel connected to the person you used to be. The habits that once defined you no longer fit. The beliefs you once held no longer feel true. The life you once imagined for yourself may no longer be the life you want. Yet, at the same time, the person you are becoming has not fully emerged. And so you find yourself standing between two versions of yourself. One that is fading, and one that is still taking shape. This in-between space can feel incredibly confusing, because human beings naturally seek certainty. We want clear answers, clear directions, a clear understanding of where we're headed. Healing rarely offers that. Instead, it often asks us to move forward without knowing exactly what comes next. You may find yourself questioning things you never questioned before. Your purpose, your relationships, your goals, even your identity. The things that once felt certain now feel uncertain. And while that uncertainty is uncomfortable, it is often a sign that growth is taking place. Imagine crossing a bridge in heavy fog. You can no longer see where you started. but you also cannot clearly see where you're going. All you can do is trust the path beneath your feet and continue moving forward. Healing often feels exactly like that. You leave behind familiar versions of yourself, but before clarity arrives, there is a period where everything feels unclear. Many people mistake this stage for failure. They assume that because they feel lost, something must be wrong. Because they feel uncertain, they must be moving backward. Because they feel lonely, they must be alone. But what if these feelings are not signs of failure? What if they are signs of transition? Because every meaningful transformation contains a period of uncertainty. Before confidence comes self-doubt. Before clarity comes confusion. Before peace comes discomfort. And before becoming someone new, there is often a season where you no longer recognize who you used to be. This is not a flaw in the process. This is the process. The difficulty is that few people talk about it. We celebrate transformation once it is complete. We admire the finished result. But we rarely discuss the uncomfortable middle. The stage where growth feels messy. The stage where progress feels invisible. The stage where you are trying to trust yourself while simultaneously questioning everything. Yet, it is often in these moments that the deepest healing occurs. Because when certainty disappears, we are forced to look inward. When familiar identities fall away, we are given the opportunity to discover who we truly are. And while that journey can feel lonely, it can also be profoundly transformative. The person you are becoming is not created in moments of comfort. They are created in moments like these. Moments of uncertainty. Moments of reflection. Moments when you choose to continue moving forward despite not having all the answers. That is not weakness. That is courage. And if you find yourself in this in-between space right now, know that you are not alone. Many people have stood where you stand. Many people have questioned what you are questioning. And many people have discovered that what felt like being lost was actually the beginning of finding themselves. Over time, something interesting begins to happen. The same silence that once felt uncomfortable starts to feel different. The same moments alone that once felt painful begin to feel peaceful. The same space that once felt empty begins to feel meaningful. This is often the point where healing teaches us one of its most important lessons. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the feeling that something is missing. Solitude is the realization that your own presence can be enough. At first, many people struggle with being alone because they have spent so much of their lives seeking validation, comfort, or distraction from the outside world. There is nothing wrong with wanting connection. Connection is a fundamental part of being human. But healing often invites us to develop a different kind of relationship. A relationship with ourselves. For some people, this can feel unfamiliar. Perhaps you've spent years focusing on everyone else's needs. Perhaps you've spent years measuring your worth through the approval of others. Perhaps you've spent so much time trying to avoid discomfort that being alone with your thoughts feels unsettling. Healing slowly changes that. It teaches you how to sit with yourself, how to listen to yourself, how to trust yourself. And while that process takes time, it can become one of the most rewarding parts of personal growth. You begin discovering that your value does not depend on constant validation. You begin realizing that your peace does not have to be controlled by other people. You begin understanding that being alone is not the same as being abandoned. In fact, some of the most meaningful discoveries about yourself happen when no one else is around. It is in solitude that many people reconnect with their values, their purpose, their passions, their identity. Without the noise of outside expectations, without the pressure to perform, without the need to be anyone other than themselves. The loneliness may not disappear overnight. There may still be difficult days. There may still be moments when you wish someone understood exactly what you're going through. But slowly, something begins to change. You stop fearing your own company. You stop seeing silence as something that needs to be filled. You stop viewing every season of solitude as a problem to solve. And instead, you begin seeing it as an opportunity to grow. Not because isolation is the goal, but because self-understanding is. Healing teaches us that there are some parts of our journey that only we can walk. And while that path may feel lonely at times, it also leads us closer to ourselves. Perhaps healing feels lonely because growth requires space. Space to reflect, space to change, space to let go of what no longer belongs, space to become who you are meant to be. Along the way, you may outgrow old habits. You may outgrow old beliefs. You may even outgrow relationships that once felt important. And while those changes can feel painful, they do not mean you are moving in the wrong direction. Sometimes they are signs that you are moving forward. The truth is that healing is not always beautiful. It is not always comfortable. And it is rarely a straight line. There will be moments of uncertainty, moments of doubt, moments when you wonder if anyone truly understands what you're experiencing. But those moments do not define the journey. They are simply part of it. Because healing is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to yourself. It is about removing the layers that no longer serve you. The fears, the wounds, the expectations. The versions of yourself that were built out of survival rather than authenticity. And while that process may sometimes feel lonely, it is also one of the most meaningful journeys a person can take. So, if healing feels lonely right now, be gentle with yourself. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are growing. And perhaps what feels like loneliness today is simply the quiet space where your next chapter is being written. Trust the process. Keep moving forward. The person you are becoming is already beginning to emerge. And one day, you may look back on this season and realize that what felt like loneliness was actually transformation in disguise. Thank you for watching. This has been Inner Light Reflections.